Hello, Otafest family. Podcasts are being recorded from home offices, and Otafest is still planning community events even if we can't be together physically. We hope you're staying indoors where it's safe and maybe working on your creative projects in the meantime. In the meantime, I'm Jay, that's Angelo, and we have a Nancy.
Wow.
Hello.
There's three of us.
Yes.
All three of us.
Never
This is getting out of
happened
hand.
before. Happy Otafest week, post Otafest weekend, I guess.
How dare you?
Sob. How dare you mention this so freshly after it happened?
How dare
it didn't.
you?
It still sort of happened in the way that you could still celebrate. We had some Pokemon events going on our on the Twitch channel, and I'm sure people found a way to sort of maybe remember or celebrate in their own way. Obviously, it can be a little tough right now, not being able to get together, not being able to see people physically, but it's just how it is right now, isn't it? But
Did you guys see
better
any
luck next
really...
year.
Did you guys see any cool Twitch threads or anything? I know that Pokemon League was definitely discussed a lot on Twitch. But I saw a lot of Twitter threads on like Artist Alley from all the artists that would have been at Otafest.
Yeah. I tried not to follow it too much, to be honest, because like it's the first time in over 10 years that I haven't done something sort of Otafest like I say Otafest related. I mean like a big event related to Otafest.
I tried to count how many
strange.
years it had been, and I couldn't. It was really hard for me to be like, that's been 15 years, but it has. Like, I have Otafest shirts dating back so far, and I've only missed one Otafest in recent memory, and that was because I had to be somewhere else for a wedding, and, like, extenuating circumstances, right? But
I think this was year, like, 12 or 13. I don't really remember anymore. I don't know how I'm going to count things from now on, because it's sort of like there's a hiccup.
By the decade.
Well, we all like some of our a few of the staff got together over the weekend digitally, and we sort of just made like a mock con where we were just like posting about like hypothetical fires that we're putting out at a hypothetical Otafest, where like like we ran out of change at a vendor booth, or like
we're out of hand
someone
sanitizer.
or someone got stuck in the escalators and stuff like that. So very small and cute little things, and that was kind of fun to see people sort of
just pretend, and it was
together.
really cute.
Yeah. Complete with like a hypothetical closing ceremonies and things like that as well. So that was kind of fun, but it's sort of I just like we came to the conclusion that like this year doesn't count. Like I'm supposed to be turning 30 this year, but no, we're staying 29. Otafest is just gonna be Otafest 2020 next year as well. Like that's the marketing. We're not changing any of the marketing materials that we would have prepared. So, yeah, it really does feel like we've just lost a lot in terms of what we could have brought this year. There's a lot of stagnation.
Yeah, but like, so hypothetically, if the con had happened this weekend, how would you be right now? How would your post-con hangover be?
We wouldn't be recording a podcast, I'll tell you that much.
Typically, we report a podcast
at Otafest.
Yeah, we usually record. Like last year, it was with ProZD in a panel with him,
And then we try to get that episode out pretty much as soon as possible,
Yeah.
just so we don't have to think about it. It's true though, like production wise, we're like, oh, let's just get this done. Like not in a bad way, obviously. We just have so much else, like because obviously for when you're a con runner, the con doesn't stop, it doesn't begin and end because the con's on. It's before and after the con, right? So we still have things to put away, things to organize, and people to see and all that kind of stuff. A lot of logistics work. So you try to put everything that you can that's like in a manner of speaking lower priority. You want to actually put that out faster if you can because it'll just get shoved to the bottom of the line if you don't.
For sure.
Angela, did you do anything over this weekend?
I watched like 3 episodes of anime.
3 whole episodes?
I don't know, something like that, give or take.
What were you
What'd
watching?
Oh, actually, now that I think about it, I watched the last 6 episodes of BNA. That's that new Trigger furry show.
Right, I remember.
Oh,
Yeah, it's actually pretty good.
Okay.
What's the other
like,
furry show?
Beastars?
Beastars?
Beastars, that's what it was.
That I still haven't seen.
Right.
I watched the first couple of episodes, maybe just the first episode of Beastars. I think I saw a tweet from Angelo about that at some point, and I just decided to stop.
I feel
Really?
like I'm curious because like I kind of was hoping that you'd seen both. I just wondered which one was sort of better, but I understand that different shows like they have different settings and things like that. So it's
Different
not
tone.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It just happens that we have anthro characters as the starring role,
It's
right?
been a while since we've had like an anthro show, huh?
Depends on what you count maybe as anthro and also maybe
I don't know.
what's so mainstream, you know?
Oh, okay. That's true.
Yeah. Like I would say
Angela
that
can
BNA
answer
is
that
probably
better than
super mainstream in this scenario.
Yeah.
Well,
but
as far
so
as
is
BNA
Beastars, I
goes,
think.
it's like I don't think it's going to outshine Beastars. Beastars actually has a ton of discussion around it, and I just don't care. In the case of
that's not a problem.
in the case of BNA, like it's a really cute show. The characters are really lovable, and I would say it was a good show.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it was a great show. At the very least, I'd like to commend Trigger for once in their lives making an anime that doesn't end up with all the characters going to space in the last episode and aliens spontaneously being the bad guy.
Nice.
So, spoiler alert, they never go to space. Spoiler alert, it's not aliens.
Huh. That's a surprise.
Yeah.
Oh, BNA
Okay.
is
I mean,
licensed.
that's how they ruined Darling in the Franxx.
Yeah.
So,
Oh. Spoilers, God.
BNA is licensed and distributed by Netflix in Japan.
yes. So it
Mm.
is entirely like a Netflix deal. I'm not even sure if the last 6 episodes are out on American Netflix because like they did the first 6 episodes were out all at once in Japan, and then they waited like a month before bringing them to North American Netflix, and then these are available, and I don't think it's out here, and I don't know. Licensing agreements, man. Not even once.
I might check it out. I have been watching a few more well, I say a few more shows. Like I've watched a couple of other episodes of Kaguya Hime or Kaguya-sama?
Oh.
I always forget.
Kaguya-sama.
Kaguya-sama.
Love is War?
Yeah, Love is War. And I was like, that's okay, but I'm probably gonna fuck off of that because if you remember last time I was talking about like we got heated about shitty romance anime tropes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god.
So I don't want to get
go
back
on
into
Let's
that.
not
So
rehash
let's not.
that.
But I want to get
Yes.
back into a couple like just watching a few other shows, just something for fun. I want to get into Digimon, just because
Ooh, the
I
new
saw.
one.
Yeah, it looks really fun, and like I don't know if it'll actually keep my interest, but I think it'll just be like a sort of nice nostalgic hit, and the new animation looks really fresh and just something fun to watch. I'd like to find something more deep, but um, I don't know. I think I'd have to dig deeper into sort of what anime is offering nowadays in order to find it, and I'm just afraid that I'm not gonna find it, and it's just gonna be a very passing trend again for me. Like I'd like to find something deeper, but I just don't think it's gonna be that easy.
Do you find that your attention span has gotten worse with like trying new shows?
In the last couple seasons for me, yes, but that's mostly just because nothing has really looked like what I want.
See, I can't say the same because I don't watch enough shows. If you can argue that I don't watch any shows at all, really, outside of the very few, and I would say my biggest issue is, and it has been this for the longest time, is the reason why I don't watch shows now, is because when I was young, I watched so many shows and I'd binge them, and I have gathered all the tropes in my mind, and like when an anime begins the downward spiral of falling into tropes to, I don't know, extend the season to its allotted 26 episodes or something like that. Um, it really just bores me, and I just drop it. And I used to be the kind of watcher that would watch everything I started, and that probably has killed a lot of my desire to keep on watching anime in general or shows in general. I say anime a lot. I don't watch a lot of shows. I don't watch like anything really on Netflix. The last things I've completed are Mandalorian and Witcher, and they are very short series, which is nice. I should probably pick up Castlevania because I did like that at least.
Castlevania is good.
Yeah.
I
Um,
enjoyed the I enjoyed the other episodes far more than this recent series
Oh,
or
Castlevania?
season. Yeah. Like, let's see.
Oh,
Would you argue the first season was like the first 8 episodes or whatever it was? Up until they defeated Dracula, basically.
I've
That
only seen the
arc,
first season,
that
so.
arc was way more fun than this second arc that they've
Oh.
done, or second season. Uh,
Well, that's over.
but at the
There's
same
always
time,
something like that. There's always. I feel like when you have like you call it sequel seasons or second, third, whatever. There's always like a couple ups and downs, but a lot of it is usually the second season. I find has to do setup for like the ultimate sort
that's
of
what's going on
finish,
right now.
and
Like,
that's fine. That's excusable.
this entire season, it was set up. They
Hmm.
were establishing locations,
Hmm.
characters. They were doing things. Uh, but with the exception of the arc of Trevor and Sifa, I think her name was, every moment of screen time that wasn't those two, I felt just was not enjoyable.
What in both of your opinions, understanding that like animation as a medium, including like the storytelling and the art direction, are of equal importance, like when you're trying to together the whole product, how good does the story have to be in order for you to overlook the animation, like the lack of quality of animation?
I just
are we
realized
talking
I watched a different
yes
thing
and or?
this weekend, which directly
Oh.
ties into this.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
go on.
So, I would argue, to answer Jay's question, I would argue if the animation sucks, like if it is really close
Mhm.
to slideshow tier,
Mhm.
the
Oof.
story and characters have to be exceptionally compelling. And I'm
Right.
talking last 2 episodes of Evangelion compelling, because that's basically
Yeah,
what we're talking about right now. That
I
is,
mean,
I
at
was
that
just going to
point,
mention
yeah.
that would be a prime example of storytelling trumping, suddenly we have no budget and now you just get paper sketches, I guess.
exactly.
Right. Because
Uh,
like you might as well read the manga at that point, right?
Evangelion is a kind of a special case. So let's
Yes.
move the slider a little bit back. Let's go with Kimono Friends.
Don't know that one. I think I know the name.
The art style was janky as hell. It was kind of shitty 3D CG, to be honest. But all the characters were really great and compelling in that sort of slice of life way that you could
It's a
keep
shitty
watching
moe
the show.
anime. It's an
It is.
anthro moe anime.
It is. Season 2 is garbage for multiple reasons.
Uh-huh.
So that's that.
There's a Picross
And on the
game.
opposite end of the scale, when the storytelling takes a backseat to the animation. So there's a Cartoon Network cartoon by Gendy Tatarovsky, or whatever his name is, the same guy behind Samurai Jack, right?
Okay.
Called Primal. And so the story of the first episode is dinosaurs eat caveman's babies. Caveman gets angry and go fights dinosaurs.
Right.
There's not even dialogue. There's no spoken words other than like grunts or things.
That's fine.
The animation, it's like 22 minutes of Sakuga.
I don't know what Sakuga is.
Sakuga is like those bursts of animation that make like, when you watch an anime and you're like, that's where they spent the budget. When you watch Kaguya-sama and see the ending of episode 3 or whatever it is, with Chika just dancing around, completely rotoscoped, and like,
yeah,
like the burst of animation that make you be like, yes, this
the quality,
is the art form,
the quality, yes.
And so like if you've watched Samurai Jack, you kind of know what to expect from like the cinematography and everything else of what Gendy Tatarovsky as a director would do. And so Primal, there's, I believe, 6 episodes of it currently, and it's just, it has so many problems. But it looks so good doing it that I don't care. Like, for example, this is the biggest gripe that I have throughout the whole 6 episodes that I watched. There is no consistent scale, like for size, I mean. Like if you're trying to gauge how big our caveman dude is, how big his dinosaur friend is, how big the enemies are, the answer is they are as big as the scene needs them to be, or as small as the scene needs them to be.
There's something I watched recently that complained about that. It had to do with like the size of the characters and like there was like a railway. I don't know. There was like, that was a big thing. Anyway, like scaling was such a problem. I thought it was hilarious. Now, Nancy,
wait, hold multiple times to me, that took me out of the experience because I was like, wait a minute. My caveman bro was just fighting these giant Batmen, mano y mano, and now you expect me to believe that 2 of these could pick up his dinosaur bro and fly with them. Bullshit!
I mean, that's just suspension of disbelief. But I was going to say, that sounds hilarious a little bit there. I'm sure Nancy has a thought on the original question, which I would love for that. But there's also, like, I want you to say, speak that part first. But I do have, like, a major question for you after.
Okay, hang on to that. I don't know, I'm pretty picky as a person in general. I can give a couple of examples where both visuals and story were stunning, like Violet Evergarden. It was visually beautiful. Just, there wasn't a single frame in the entire show that I didn't love. But then you get things like The Dragon Prince, and The Dragon Prince has, from what I can tell, pretty good storytelling, pretty good world building. But that first season, they did something that I really hated, and it bugged me the whole time. And that was something where they dropped the frame rate on purpose to make it feel more like hand-drawn animation. But it was very clearly a 3D like style because like So the thing is that they only dropped the frames for animating motion for the characters, but they didn't do it for when the camera was panning. So you'd get smooth camera panning across a scene, but then the characters were moving janky.
So, okay, I have a different question about that right now then. What do you think of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
Okay, so that was actually stylistically beautiful.
Yes.
They really ran with that style, like the comic book look and feel.
Yes.
Where like you just sort of get snapshots of like Miles running in the night,
Yes.
and like you get little thought bubbles coming out of him. I liked that a lot.
But talking about the frame rate dropping, they did that on purpose to
Yeah,
create
but
an idea that like Miles is like a very inexperienced and clumsy Spider-Man, and every time, but whenever you saw Peter Parker, he was animated. I think I don't remember actually the
I
number.
actually
like
didn't
60
notice
FPS.
that.
Yeah, he was actually at speed, and he looked very smooth. Whereas and there were times where, like, for instance, when they're leaving Octavia's lab, you can see that there's a difference at the beginning, but at the end, where closer to the end rather, where they're swinging together through the trees, and he's getting the idea of it. They start matching their frame rate, and it's actually like their individual character frame rate. I mean, and like,
right. So, but to me, that's
a
the
choice.
stylistic. That's a commitment, though. Like they did it for a reason. For Dragon Prince, it was a consistent choice throughout the entire production of the first season,
right?
And it just really throws you off because it doesn't match up with the backgrounds at all, and it doesn't match up with the fact that, like, when you're doing CGI anyway, you may as well just not drop the frame rate. Like,
right.
it contributed to making it a lot jankier considering how clean everything else was.
What if they were like posing the models I can't imagine why they would do this.
That would be terrible.
But like posing the models frame by
awful.
frame, and then so they literally didn't have the interpolation between frames to do it. What if it was, instead of stylistic choice, what if it was like incompetence?
Well, that's a different problem entirely.
Yeah. So to the other end of the scale, I remember trying out some anime series that were, I heard, pretty good. I think there was one about ping pong.
Oh, yes.
And the style of that was just like super out there.
Yes.
And it just
literally called ping pong.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it was literally called ping pong. It just, the style did not allow me to continue.
That's fair. I know exactly what you're talking about, and that director has a couple different things. It is an art style. Off the top of my head, there's Kimono Zume. And there's something more recent too. Aizuken. That's right, Aizuken.
So I would say that
it
visual style probably contributes quite a bit to my ability to stick with the show.
That's fair.
There are obviously a lot of things I can forgive as long as it's just consistent.
Okay. So here's the question that I wanted to ask based off of what Angelo's answer was first. As some, and it's not specifically directed to this whole, it's not directly linked to the whole animation thing, but if you have an anime or a show where it's animated in general, where the art is amazing, but there's virtually no voice acting in it whatsoever for storytelling purposes, how do you feel about that as someone who is a voice actor?
I can absolutely appreciate that someone has told a cohesive and beautiful story through animation and through just like the Foley noises.
Right, but in this idea, it's not really so like we've all seen like beautiful animations where there's no sound. But I think there's something to be said where there could be sound, but they've reduced it to grunts, and like it's they've reduced it to a primitive form of voice communication, but they're not exactly eradicating it. And I think it's sort of like it's primitive and sort of
it must save so much money on localization costs.
It certainly does. So there's a couple ways I can take that question. First of all is that you have this really fleshed out thing that you want to animate, and you need to add sound to it to fill in for that sense.
Right.
The sense of sound. And reducing all dialogue down to just really simplistic noises is something they've done in older video games for a long time, but video games have the advantage of having text bubbles for speech, and people are expected to read those at whatever speed they want. So in this case, if we're talking about an animated, like a show that's maybe I don't know, 6 episodes, whatever, but they're telling like a story throughout these many episodes, and they've purposefully left it at just grunts and like noises or exclamations or whatever. I would be really interested to know what kind of story they think they can tell with just that. It's hard. It's a really hard thing to do.
At one point, sorry.
I
would like to say they did very well with Wall-E doing that.
Yes.
But honestly, all the exposition was spoken. So I don't think it counts.
Yeah, that's true. Like,
the
there's
actual
a lot of
storytelling
like recorded
is being
human
told.
bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
so
you get the characters.
The expressiveness.
But you don't get the story without the dialogue.
Right.
Yeah.
To answer even my own question, like, the whole reason why I asked this was, like, so one of my favorite shows from a long time ago, and I don't think a lot of people really watched or know of it, it's called Saikano, which is short for Saishuhaki Kanojo. It translates to, like, My Girlfriend, the Ultimate Weapon.
Oh, I remember that show. I hated it.
The story, I think, is fairly compelling because I like those kind of stories. It's like the package is you have a budding high school romance, except the girl is actually part of a war program, and she has been turned into the ultimate war weapon. And it's not cute. It's not moe. It's not fantasy in the way that it's like shiny and polished. She goes out there and she ends battles because of how powerful she is and the modifications they've made to her body doing so. And you don't necessarily, it doesn't even focus on how like amazingly modified, like you see her modifications, but they don't go into this whole thing about like she's like beautiful in the way that she creates death. No, she is just a death machine, and when she's done being a death machine, she just wants to spend time with her boyfriend.
Damn.
I love that sort of dichotomy there. At the same time, one of the worst animation styles I have ever seen, and it made me want to go to sleep because I had to watch it.
That was my problem with it. Like, the art style looked good. The actual animating was bad.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, the story, like, it's a 6 episodes or something, isn't it? It's really short.
It's fairly short. I think it's a 13.
And despite being really short, I was so bored by the end of the first episode that I just couldn't continue. And this was at a point even where I was like a huge proponent of the 3-episode rule. This was one of the first anime that made me question that rule.
Wow.
It's the story, if you are into that genre like I am, is very compelling. But holy shit, did I want to fall asleep while watching that show. Wow. And it's literally like it's a standard 22 like minute episode style, and it really is only like, I don't know, like up to 13 episodes. It's not more than that. But it felt so long, and I remember it so clearly, even like 10 years later after watching it.
I remember complaining about this years ago, that it's like the synopsis, the story synopsis, what it's supposed to be about, everything about it ticks every single box of what I like, and the actual art style of it does look really good. It's a compelling art style, and then you start watching it, and it's just slow and boring.
You know what doesn't help?
Like, it's a chore.
It doesn't help that show was animated, not just animated, but like the art direction. They took a very like pastel overtone to it. Like,
it was a very pastel palette to it.
Yes,
but I didn't mind that. I liked that.
No, but it doesn't help it. It doesn't help
like something I'd mind either.
Like generally that's an okay thing, but I think the complete package of what they gave you was really, it really would dissuade you from wanting to watch it. And I would love it if I could get a remake of that. But it's 13 episodes, by the way. I just looked it up.
Okay, it is.
It felt like forever. It really did. So, like,
Ooh, speaking of things taking forever,
yeah.
I read on the weekend that Ghibli's new film
I say Ghibli.
is currently.
I say Ghibli.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Is it Ghibli?
Pretty sure
Is there an
it's
official
Ghibli.
thing? Anyway, sorry, keep going.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look that up.
it's Ghibli. If you actually read the Japanese katakana for it, it's Ghibli.
Oh, I guess I've never really looked at that. I'm gonna look at to see if they have
Most
a
people
pronunciation
don't,
key.
right? Like you look at the English name for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the beloved animator, creator of many, many, many Ghibli films, his next film has a team of 60 animators, and they complete about a minute of animation per month.
Wow.
Per month?
Yes, per month. They've been working on it for 3 years, so they have 36 whole minutes of animation at this moment.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
And can you
That's
imagine the amount
katakana right there? Okay.
Can you imagine just the amount of things they must be animating right now to make a minute a month for 60 animators? In comparison, they had, I think, 6 or 8 animators for Totoro, and Totoro was done in 8 months.
Jesus Christ, they must have killed themselves to do that.
And that was a beautifully animated film, even now looking back at it. So, sorry to completely derail it. I just wanted to mention that because it was something cool that I read this weekend.
No, it absolutely is.
What if they're just taking their time?
I don't know, to be honest. Like
what if they're like, you know what?
Full time.
Crunch sucks. Let's take our time and see if we can make a profit doing it.
Well,
I don't think that's what's happening.
I mean, animators don't have an easy job.
No.
So it'd be kind of nice if there was a team of animators that were able to take their time and put out a quality product that they could be proud of and not feel like they were pushing themselves to death to get a movie done.
I would love if that could happen.
I'm reading an article about the pronunciation of Studio Ghibli.
Okay.
But it's supposed to be Ghibli.
It is.
Yeah.
That's
the katakana is
says.
clearly Ghibli.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe it's just a limitation of katakana.
There's a bit that I'm reading right now. It says the name Ghibli comes from an Arabic word meaning hot air blowing from the Sahara Desert. Blah 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 blah. It would seem, however, that Miyazaki either mistook or deliberately corrupted the pronunciation of Ghibli, which is meant to have a G sound as in gift, rather than a J sound as in giraffe.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. I was going off of the actual katakana for
which is totally
Ghibli.
fair. I haven't actually confirmed it. I'm reading an article about it, which it's Sora News, so like they're pretty good about stuff. I just don't know if there's any like I can't find an official like pronunciation key for it. But speaking really quickly before you say anything about the animation crunch thing, the current Studio Ghibli seems like a nice place to work. For example, every Saturday is massage day where tired animators are treated to rub downs as long as needed.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a rub down to next Saturday, please.
Yeah. but I mean, I don't know if that's pretty nice even by like Western standards, but there's always that thing where like the Japanese working expectation is insane.
Exactly.
Dude, they'll be expecting them to be pushing out keyframes while they're getting rubbed down.
Right.
Okay. So on the hard G versus soft G, or like J, I guess, pronunciation for words like G. On the flip side, I will say that they romanized energy very oddly. I have heard it several times in many anime series where they called energy.
Yeah, energy. But I think that's just a pronunciation issue where they're like, obviously they can say G. G is part of their pronunciation key in the Japanese language. I think it's just sort of like an English education issue. Like how
I would love if a linguist came in and told us about this, because that does seem kind of funny that they went the other way with something like Ghibli, but for the word energy they went the other
Well,
way.
I wanted to
Sorry.
point out really quickly that like, I'm sure you have like you as I do have relatives that are where Chinese is their first language and then English is their second, and they've learned English maybe through like a school system or something, and the way they pronounce Z or Z is really different. They always pronounce it as EZ,
Yeah.
like EZ. They always say it like
EZ.
yeah,
Yeah.
EZ when they mean to say Z
Uh-huh.
or Z. When it's
Yep.
funny because in Chinese language we have Z sounds. Like we have like zhi, zha, like that kind of sound. So I find it weird that they,
In Mandarin
yeah,
or in Canto?
in either, like the last name Zhang is pronounced
Oh.
is
Yeah.
right, but they
It's a
go for
softer.
like
It's a
this
softer
very
bzz though.
pronounced Z by calling it EZ, and I don't know. I actually don't know where that comes from. It's like a pet peeve, but I don't correct it like it because it's not their
Yeah.
fault.
You
It's
can't.
literally
No.
it's a consistency that I've noticed. So it must be in the education system,
Yeah.
right?
I'd say that's accurate.
Yeah.
On that note of EZ, there's also the way they say E, the letter E. It starts off for us usually with like a hard like delineation. It's E.
Mm-hmm.
But for a lot of family that I've heard, they pronounce it Yi with like a Y at
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, it's a linguistics thing. It's just how they were taught to pronounce this. It's probably easier for them
It's
to pronounce
probably
it this way
easier
for
to
some
start it
reason.
that way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
yeah.
there's like other uh things in the language that make more sense to make it make it sound that way. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in all
Angela, do you
fairness,
have any non-English speaking family that you've also noticed patterns of this sort of pronunciation? I guess.
he looks like he wants to say no.
He's thinking.
Yeah.
I
He must be
repeat
thinking.
the question. I don't think I heard it properly.
Do you have any non-English speaking family who, when they do speak English, have these kinds of patterns learnt?
No. The closest thing I would have to non-English speaking family would be my grandmother's, one speaking Italian, one in French. But even then, I was never close enough with them to know.
I would say that, like, in my own admittance, not to pick on anyone else, I can't fucking speak Mandarin for shit because I can't wrap my mouth around the pronunciation and the tonal.
The rolled R's?
Yeah, like it's very difficult for me. Well, I say difficult as in like I haven't studied it classically anyways, but
bro, you and I are in the same boat.
It's tough as shit.
You and I are in the same boat. I can't do Mandarin. I find it very difficult to focus on learning Mandarin. It doesn't click for me.
I can listen to it okay-ish.
I can't do that either.
But like when I say okay-ish, I mean like 20%, like very casual conversation I can listen to.
Like,
but
maybe 10% for me, I could maybe make out some words.
But like seriously, speaking it is just like if I have a personal hell when I die and I have personal hell that I have to go to, it's gonna be in Mandarin and they're gonna try and teach me to speak it.
Oh no!
That's how bad it will be.
That's okay. So you and I are definitely in the same boat. I've tried learning it in Chinese school. I've tried watching like Mandarin on television. I can't. It doesn't click for me. For many of my friends who know both Cantonese and Mandarin, they're just like, oh yeah, it's just like changing an accent. And I'm like, I wish it was that easy for me because I don't click, I don't grok it.
To be fair, some accents in the same language are really weird.
Right? Like you have like I've always thought about it, like if you learn English as a second language, how hard is it for you to differentiate between all the accents that we have in English? You have Southern dialects, like Southern U.S. dialects. You have Boston dialects. Yeah, you have UK.
The UK dialects are where it gets really
You have
weird.
Australian, New Zealand, but you also have like African dialects of English as well.
True.
And like Johannesburg,
Jamaican dialects,
Jamaican and stuff. There's a lot of stuff. Like, can someone who's learning ESL, like, hear like Jamaican English very well? I'm really curious about that.
No.
I am very curious.
Because
No.
I have, I can admit
Trust
that I
me.
have issues with that, and I have issues with British English every now and then as well.
When
even though I've watched a lot of British shows, and it takes a lot of time to sort of
Gio's
absorb it.
grandparents
I've
will
noticed.
speak to me, and
Mhm.
they're very friendly, and I
Yeah.
love them. And I can only understand about half of what they say.
I've had a family like out in Newfoundland before,
Mhm.
and sometimes listening to like the grandfather of the family speaking in a very strong Newfie accent is hard.
Mm.
You have to really, really put in the effort to just like listen. Like you're concentrating so hard.
Well, it's
I
like-
can't imagine what that's like.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Like it's like if you took the Irish accent and you made it 40 times more sideways.
Newfie accents are weird. But for example, when it comes to like rural UK accents, you can be traveling
Yes.
like 10 miles from one place and the
It's
accent
true.
changes completely.
Mhm.
For example,
Mhm.
the sauce, Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire.
Yeah, Worcestershire.
You're wrong.
Worcestershire.
Wrong.
Worcestershire.
Wrong.
Worcestershire.
Closer.
Worcestershire.
Wrong.
Worcester.
Worcester. Worcester.
Worcester.
Worcester. I knew that one, but Worcestershire
I know,
is
but,
what
like,
they
it's
say
so bullshit.
in London,
It's
I think.
so bullshit.
Worcestershire. For hire.
I've always loved that
sauce.
word. Thank you.
Yeah.
As a total aside, I love Worcestershire. I love that
shit's
sauce.
great.
I used to like it a lot,
I
but I
love-
actually use it less. One of my favorite condiments that I know that not a lot of people use, except
Wait a minute, you guys don't use Worcester as a condiment. You use it as like an additive, like an ingredient, right?
Oh no, you can use it as
both.
an actual condiment, like on
You can
stuff.
add it to something after, as well as while
Sure.
You
you're
guys
cooking.
are insane.
No, we're not.
There's no reason
It's
that you
already
can't.
fermented. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's honestly, you know what Worcestershire sauce
Okay,
is to me?
what would you put
Hold
it
on. Let me.
Steak.
Yeah,
You
you
put it
put
on
it on
steak?
Bad
steak.
steak.
After you finish cooking it, you can put a couple drops on steak.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
I totally do.
Here's-
I also marinate steak in it anyway. But
Marinating it is that's.
I
something you
don't
use it for.
marinate it in it because I think it's like overpowering.
Using it as like
It's-
part of a marinade or adding it to like a soup or a
But
stir
to
fry
me,
or like
Worcestershire sauce is nothing more than like a British version of like fish sauce for Asians.
it's fermented onions and stuff.
Yeah.
That's
well,
what it is.
fermented onions and fish and some other stuff.
Yeah, basically.
But-
But it's the British version of what we would do with like fish sauce.
Yeah. Going back to the condiment thing though,
Yes.
one of my favorite sauces that I don't think I've ever seen it in anyone else's fridge ever, other than my own family, is I have this like mint sauce that's like essentially chopped mint leaves and some other ingredient in like it's a very watery condiment. Like sorry, I say condiment. I don't think you cook with it, but I'm sure some people could. I just never met anyone else who ever has it. But this it goes with lamb and it goes with.
Oh, you're
red
just talking
meats.
about mint jelly.
But it's not mint jelly. That's the
It's
thing.
not
I've
mint
had
jelly.
mint jelly, but I'm telling you, this is
I
watery.
want this.
And it comes in
Are
a
you sure
bottle
it
I
wasn't
that's
want
like
just
this.
watery mint jelly?
No, not the same. Not remotely the
I
same.
don't know what it is either, but I want it.
I would love to.
'Cause
I
that's
would, I would
exactly
love
what
to
I
have
want
you
on
try
lamb.
it sometime because it goes really well with red meat, especially lamb. If you like lamb and something a
Yes,
little like
that's
stronger,
what I want
gamier,
on lamb.
it cuts through it really nicely, but it's not overpowering.
Okay.
And I don't,
Oh,
and
okay.
I
Here's-
don't see as much like mint jelly. I've had it. I maybe it's because I grew up with this other sauce, but I also think that like it's not appealing to have jelly on your nice plate. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
So
I don't
Um,
keep mint jelly.
condiment that is always made fresh, or at least usually made fresh, that I never see anywhere other than Asian cuisine is Jay, you'll know this, but you know when you
pressure
have
is on.
like chicken. Okay. Chicken, when it's been steamed,
Yes.
they always give you the green onion
Ginger.
and ginger that's
Yes.
just chopped up with garlic in oil.
Yes.
And you just slather it all over the chicken.
Why do we only use it for that?
I don't know, but it's delicious. I use it on everything.
I mean, I've never used it for anything else. That's the thing. but also don't have it
if
at
you
home.
Start using it for everything, apparently.
I mean, it's not hard to make.
Actually, something that I was gonna make, condiment wise, was I was thinking of making my own chili oil soon.
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Chili
Yeah,
oil
like
is great.
garlic chili oil. Oh,
Yeah.
Don't use olive oil.
no.
No?
You want to
Okay.
use a
No.
neutral oil,
Yes.
more like a canola or a vegetable oil. That's again just not like an olive. I think you can use
An
grapeseed
olive-
potentially as well.
Yes, grapeseed or avocado oil work really
Does
well.
the taste of the olive oil just overpower it? Or...
No,
No, olive oil tends to go rancid
Yes.
over time very, very quickly,
Oh, okay.
and it does not handle high heat at all.
no, yeah.
Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil is one of the most, like, it tends to denature under heat, like, some of the best. That's actually a myth that
No,
extra
It
virgin
smokes.
olive oil, it actually handles heat very well.
But there's better,
But-
but there's
Smokes,
still better
though.
oils.
But as
Than
far
that.
as it goes, like, once you get into, like, the lower grades of olive oil, then it's absolute trash.
I think I would probably use a canola or a. Oh, there's like a exploding motorcycle outside. There is canola or corn oil. I'd probably use some kind of corn-based thing.
yeah, corn oil would work really well.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'd be
Ooh,
favorable.
so corn is in season or something because we had some the other day and it was
Oh,
delicious.
Bayfar bought blackberries and they were amazing.
Nice.
Oh, I love
things are in
blackberries.
season. It's so good. If you
Yes.
love food and you
So
love produce,
good.
it's like spring into summer,
It's
and
finally
then
not
eventually
winter
fall.
anymore.
Yeah, like there are things that are in season in winter. Like asparagus is technically a winter thing, early winter.
Vegetable.
But like
Yeah.
when you get something in season, it makes a difference.
Oh, yeah.
I had
Mhm.
watermelon the other day, and it's not watermelon
not
season
in
yet.
season yet. No.
But I wanted it because it
That
was
must
only
have been
$4. It was
disappointing.
$4 for a whole melon, and I was like,
Yeah,
I just want
but
it, so I bought it. And it wasn't
Ugh.
bad. It just was like
wasn't
it was like
good.
75% of what an awesome summer melon would be like.
I particularly miss watermelons from Japan. There's something different about the way their watermelon tastes. It's really, really good. It's like if you took a regular watermelon here, it's like they somehow crossed it between like a real watermelon taste and like how fake watermelon candies taste,
I don't
and they
think-
crossed it into an
I don't know if
actual
that's a good thing.
watermelon.
But
I
I
don't
had an
know.
argument
But it's-
with a Japanese friend about this.
Oh no. What were you arguing
So
about?
I have this friend. She came over from Japan on a work visa, on like a working vacation visa. She was just like spending time like she likes traveling to English speaking countries like Australia and Canada and the U.S. and all that kind of stuff. It's like a life experience thing for her, as well as she gets to work on her English and gets to be with people. It's really cool. She's really chill. But I was arguing with her about how Japanese horticulture and agriculture deals with fruits in general. And watermelon came up specifically, but also things like apples and stuff. And the thing is, you're probably not wrong, Nancy. And she makes the same point that the fruits in Japan are sweeter. And they're sort of more plump and they're sort of more like desirable in a way. Because they focus on like this quality idea. In return,
And that's not a bad thing.
they're more expensive, less accessible,
Much more expensive.
and they have fewer varieties. If you go to a grocery store in Japan versus a grocery store in Calgary or Canada or anywhere in North America and probably the UK, even though I haven't been there, but I have a feeling it's sort of like the similar idea. You can have
so I can probably offer an opinion on
you
it.
can
yeah.
have like you want to buy an apple? Here's 10 varieties of
10.
apple. You want to want an
Yes.
apple in Japan? Here's 2 and they're prepackaged. So if you didn't want to buy less than 6, too fucking bad.
Do you know why
Okay,
that is, Jay?
So
Because
straight
I'm
up,
gonna guess
they
it
don't
has
have
to
land
do with
to
the
grow it.
lack of.
I know.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
know.
was gonna say.
I get why there. I understand there's
Like,
a
if
reason
they want
behind
basic
it.
bitch apples, they can just import them from Canada.
Except they don't.
The funny, yeah,
Because they don't want basic bitch apples.
And I just don't think anyone should have to pay $50 for a watermelon. I just don't.
So, on that note, when I was there were the perfect strawberries. So you know the ones,
Oh,
they're
fuck
perfectly shaped, all
off.
of them. They're perfectly shaped. Every single
Yeah, I
one
get
of
it.
them are
It's the
like
kind of stuff that you'd want to
identical.
buy if you're buying someone like chocolate dipped
A
strawberries
gift.
and that kind of
Yeah, if
like
you're buying
they're
someone a
nice
gift.
strawberries. I get it. I get it.
So one of these, so you have a choice. You can either buy a single strawberry, 6 of them, or like 10, 15, 20, but like they're prepackaged
Yes.
in like those little styrofoam
Yes.
sleeves to make sure they don't get bumped or
Wait, every
bruised.
single strawberry is packed like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be the most
Yes.
infuriating thing ever.
It is.
Anyway, packaging aside, the pack of like 5 strawberries was $50.
Yeah.
$10 for a single strawberry.
Now, I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to tell you that I bought my mom chocolate strawberries for Mother's Day, this past Mother's Day.
Aw.
A box
Aw.
of 12 really nice strawberries, chocolate dipped with personalized like little messages on them.
Aw.
And it was $90 including the delivery.
Oof.
And I don't regret
you
that.
personalized them.
Yes.
Yes.
And they were probably fucking awesome. I don't know. I didn't get to see my mom
Probably?
because pandemic. I'm not buying a box of 5 regular fucking strawberries for $50. No one's gonna.
But they're regular perfect.
Do they have
A
chocolate on
perfect
them?
strawberry is worth maybe
just
like
regular
75 cents.
Angela's like,
That's
like
that's
I'm
if
sort of in the
being
same boat.
generous.
I'm like I would pay maybe $5 for a
Like-
perfect strawberry, not $10 each. There's
75
no
cents is twice as much as I would spend on a chicken wing.
To be fair, I've only ever had. Oh my god.
That's not even a chicken wing that's like raw and uncooked. It's something that you can buy as a whole product.
Wow, that ties in perfectly to last week's episode about or the previous.
That's
previous week's
fucking
episode.
funny. Yeah.
Oh man.
You know, like I just like I get it. I was like mostly raised here and I have different expectations, but I believe that there's nothing so good that it should be widely inaccessible due to its price, such as produce.
So
I just-
the way it's been told to me / explained is that those kinds of super perfect
Are
produce
gifts.
are intended to be gifts.
Yes.
So if you're buying someone like a romantic interest a gift for White Day or something, and you buy them like this expensive ass box of 5 perfect strawberries, it's seen as a very serious attempt at expressing your feelings for them. You know, that sort of thing. Or like buying one of those perfect Japanese melons.
But the problem
One of those was $50 too.
Yeah, but
I
the
would
problem
tell
again
them-
is that you can't it's still hard to get the regular produce because when you have
Why
some
couldn't they just buy me a Steam card?
when you have like the issue where like you don't have a lot of land and you're growing for quality instead of quantity or variety in this matter, then you're just going to push as a farmer to get the best prices for your quality because you can't sell in weight, you can't sell in quality or quantity rather. So as a result, there is no low end price. You know what I mean? There's no regular accessible.
I know what you're getting
like,
at.
We just bought those blackberries that were fucking awesome. They were like $2.50 a box, which is great.
Yep.
So I spent a lot of time buying groceries from like a super ultra discount place. Like this was the grocery store you went into, and either of you two would be immensely uncomfortable because I seriously think that you'd have a hard time fitting between the aisles. They have jam-packed the
Are
place.
you talking about no frills or like the no frills of no frills?
Like the Japanese version of a no frills.
Oh, okay.
It's
That
the place
would be
that you go
difficult for me.
to.
If you're not a
To
lowly
get-
or a shota, don't come shopping here.
So I went there because that was the place that was selling off discounted produce because it was almost going bad.
Yes,
Like it
and
was still sellable.
I see those. I've seen those as well.
It's insane. You go in there and it's just like constant announcer yelling out sales on the speaker and music and stuff. But anyway, despite the fact that this was the no frills of no frills,
Yes.
in Japan in a shopping arcade that's very busy. A package of 3 tomatoes was still over $10.
Jesus, I would die.
It was not a place where you go to buy produce to make your own meals. You go out to restaurants and they just make you something.
Wait, what? Who would buy 3 tomatoes, $3 a tomato? Who would?
Yeah. What the fuck is $3 a tomato? Let's go back to
Dude,
that
who's
wing
giving a
analogy.
tomato
That's
as a
almost,
gift?
depending on where you go, some wings are still 25-cent wings. That's 12 wings.
Yeah. Like,
That's a
I
lot
don't
of
buy
wings.
wings at a bar unless it's wings night, and I won't
Yeah,
buy
but it's-
wings unless they're like 35 cent, 45 cent at
You can
most.
get 10 wings instead of 1 tomato.
Yeah.
Which is super sad when you think about it that way.
Right? That's bro, like that hurts. That hurts. And I get it. Like, I love quality too, but there are times for quality.
No tomato is that good.
That's the thing. Like, there's times for quality.
It was.
But
I
generally
don't know.
speaking,
I didn't buy it.
Generally speaking, I just want it so I can at least have it. You know? That's it.
Oh my
That's
God.
fair.
Also, when
That's
fruit
fair.
when produce is in season, it's cheaper because they're all coming in at the same time and there's a big supply of them. So it's
and they're gonna go bad really fast.
It tastes better for less money. That's
Who would
great.
want tomatoes as a gift? Like, you give someone a pack of like super
I don't
expensive
think they're
tomatoes, and
being
like,
used
what
as
the
a
fuck
gift.
were you thinking?
But okay.
Anyway.
That's pretty good. I don't know. I have very strong opinions on it. I get the whole gifting thing, but like I said, I gifted my mom strawberries for less money than undecorated strawberries. I don't care who the fuck you are.
They were pretty fancy too. Like dipped in chocolate, personalized with messages, plus you got them delivered.
Hell yeah. I treat mama good. It could have been cheaper on delivery if I didn't buy them to be delivered on Mother's Day, but fuck that. I don't care. It was like $20 more, and I was like, screw it, man. You know.
It's important.
You gotta take care of
her.
mama.
It's nice. Yeah.
So.
This seems like a pretty good spot to end off for the night.
I guess so. I think
Take care of your mom. Don't spend
mom.
too much on chicken wings.
Yes. And definitely don't compare everything in life with the cost of chicken wings against it.
Yes.
And tell me
and
at
judge
what
the
point
value
does
by
the
that.
does the visual appeal of an anime series detracts from the ability to tell stories?
Right.
When per frame it's more expensive than a chicken wing.
Speaking of anime series, we only have 2 episodes left in the season, so that's just a heads up for our viewers, listeners, I guess. And we are going to be doing our summer anime preview right before, so that's going to be the next episode, and then the last one for the season, and then we'll be back sometime in the summer. So look forward to that, and we look forward to pooping out another episode for you.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Thanks for listening.
Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody.